Hi, everybody. You're listening to the Alchemy Annex here on Celestial Intersections Radio. My name is Ernesto, and I'll be your host here for the next hour or so. I am very excited to be here with you to introduce our new podcast to everybody. What's really great about this new format is that this is a chance for us to explore some of life's greatest mysteries and how you can use your own personal energy to get the things that you really want out of life. If it's really true that the universe's energy and what you give is what you get, then how do we maximize that to its potential? Our brand here in what we do is always about that self-change journey and getting the things that you really want by choosing that high road and stepping out of your comfort zone, because that's really who we are and what we do here. So we're introducing this new show. You'll be getting this every other week, every first and third Sunday for a half hour from 10 to 10:30. And then we're going to be transitioning actually into a Patreon program. We are going paid. We are beginning to establish ourselves as a brand. And in order to continuously exceed expectations and to deliver the terrific content that we have, we've just decided this is a natural progression of what we're doing. It's just part of the brand. It's part of Ascension. It's all in step with where we're going. So just to get into that for just a moment, we have a few couple of options here. I've decided that we wanted to make this accessible to everybody, and in doing so, we've given you some choices for different membership tiers that are right for you. So for just $8 a month, you can actually get access to our paid programs. And what's really great about that is that those programs are only going to be for our Patreon subscribers. They are not going to be televised here on YouTube, Facebook Live, all of those other kinds of places where you want to air out your dirty laundry, but you're too afraid to. You don't have to do that anymore because now we have a paid group. And what's also really terrific about this new thing is that we're going to be giving you a Discord server, which is a platform. And Veretta, you may not be familiar with this. This is for gamers, and this is where people would get together and talk about their games and collaborate with other players and talk about just general things going on in the world. So now all of our Patreon members will have their own Discord server, so you can talk about your self-improvement journey or whatever it is that you're doing, sharing recipes, another social element to things where people here on the show can actually begin to interact with each other. It's a great option that we now have for you, and that's just $8 a month. And you also will be able to enter our feedback raffle. So whenever you're on those shows, then you can go ahead and just send us back a thank you email or a review or something like that. And that does enter you into the drawing to win a free subscriber special. We're going to bring back that whole concept. And then in our next tier, we have this at $25 a month. This is going to be our Alchemist tier. And you will also get your name published on our supporter page. You will get a special badge on our Discord server. And most importantly, once we start to unravel the Alchemy Annex here, we're going to start to take some live questions here that you guys write in. And at the Alchemist tier, you will also get one free writing question every month so that you can take care of that and we can handle you on the show. And for our Activator tier, for the people who are really serious about their self-improvement journey, then we are going to be offering you some more personalized support than what you've ever gotten before. Like, you'll also get all of the stuff from the lower tiers, but also you're going to be a feature here on the Alchemy Annex. And this is very limited, so we don't have a whole lot of Activator slots available just due to time and availability. So this is something that does fill up quite quickly. I will put a cap as to how many enrollments that we can take for that. But the best part is that our higher two tiers, you do get a personalized invocation or mantra. So that way you can do like that whole power of positive thinking and really instill these thoughts into your belief structure. So that's the direction that we're kind of going with everything for right now, and it's really very exciting. We will not enforce these changes until July, so we're still going to be continuing show operations here as normal throughout this month. So we will be back with you guys every Sunday mornings from 10 to 11, and in 2 more weeks we'll do another Alchemy Annex, just like as we always promised you. Our Wednesday shows will remain the same for this month. They will stay on 6 to 7 p.m., and then beginning next month, that 6 to 7 p.m. Wednesday night time slot, that will be a paid show for our Patreon subscribers where you can ask all your questions and do your comments like we've always done, except it just won't be televised. So that's the great benefit of that. And then most of all, the other big change that we want to announce is that we're not going to totally do away with our free reading call-in shows and force everybody to put a knife to their back and open your wallets and or else GTFO. We're not doing that too. We will be offering call-in shows. They're just going to be on a different schedule. They will be the second and fourth Thursdays from 6 to 7 p.m. So we will be doing first and third Sunday and second and fourth Thursdays. So that's going to be how we're going to be doing the free options for everybody. And if you're a subscriber on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio or wherever, you can get all of that stuff for free. But if you are a paid subscriber with us in our Patreon program, then you will also get access to that special members lounge and all of those other terrific features like you're seeing up on your YouTube screen right now. I do not have this tier list published on my website due to some IT issues that I need to resolve personally. So I am working on that, but it is very exciting why we are doing this. And it's just the natural progression of our business model. So it's really great. And you guys will get even more personalized service and attention than what you ever had before. I really think that everybody is going to benefit from this by helping us out here. So, Beretta, this is all new news to you because I really kind of just dropped this in the past week or so. I've been very busy in getting all of these things together. What do you think about all of this and where we're headed? Okay. All right. So we just lost Veretta. Just a moment. Are you there? Okay. All right. So we lost Veretta. We'll
Yes,
come back.
yes, yes, yes. I'm
Oh,
here. No, no,
okay.
no. I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
Sorry,
No,
sorry.
no
So,
worries.
so what I was going to say, I had it on mute, so that you never lost me. I was always here. I wanted to say that I think that with the paid program, what that will allow us to do is offer to the people that, like you said, are really serious about their self improvement.
Absolutely. It's really exciting, where we're heading with all of this. And today's topic is about wealth manifestation here at the Alchemy Annex. I do have about like 6 different shows backlogged just for some different ideas. And then also, if you do have any suggestions about things you would like to discuss or hear about on the air, be sure to write us an email. We love that feedback always. It really does mean a lot. So, we will be talking about some wealth manifestation issues here today and everything that all entails. But before we get to that, Beretta, what do we need to know about June of 2023? We're about halfway through the year. If you could summarize this month in one sentence as far as what everybody needs to keep in the forefront, what would that be?
I can almost do it in one word. It's going to be breathless. There's a lot of change happening. There are things that are going to make people wish that they'd rethought their, objectives. And there's going to be a lot of happening on the social front in the arena for people to really make a new beginning, skylight, advance themselves to the top. So it's going to be, it's almost like it's hot, so hot that you can't breathe. And we know what that's like here in Arizona. But the part that makes it acceptable is the fact that that may not be a negative thing that makes you so happy that you lose your breath. It may not be something so traumatic that you can't get over it. It may be something very positive and very exciting and absolutely new in the beginning of what's to come. So June for this month is going to be breathless. That's all I can say.
I 1,000,000% agree with you because we had an eclipse yesterday or the day before, whenever the heck it was. And I'm looking at some different things that are going on with that because that's a single factor analysis we don't really pay attention to in Uranian astrology, but trying to make sense out of so what are people going to be calling about? Yeah, so that's a pretty active part in my chart at least. So that's definitely something that is going to be highlighted for me. And to say breathless, that means that this is a whirlwind of change. And so when that kind of hurricane energy is going on in your life, don't fight it. Just let it blow you where it needs to take you because you will always land on your feet where you need to be. Just be present in the moment. That's the best advice that we could give anybody when you're going through these really tumultuous personal change periods. And that's happening right now because we're meant to be launched into the next phase, and that's where we're going. So this is going to be a major theme throughout the month of June, and that we all sort of have to be conscious of. And probably throughout the rest of the summer, this will be some major themes and conversations that we'll be having here.
Yeah, and I think
So,
it'll be
go ahead.
the timing. It'll be an important issue of the timing.
Now,
We're gonna be when we
to talk about our subject for today, we're going to be talking about wealth manifestation. So, what the heck does that mean? Now, for me, a long time ago, I had some training that was under a trademark by one of those mainline psychic people that wrote books and had a big fancy show and all of that kind of stuff. I won't drop names here because it doesn't matter. But the point is that by me being certified, then I could afford to charge people $400 an hour for this work that nobody wanted, right? It was great because it opened my mind to really just sort of all of the corporate screwery that happens that people get taken advantage of. And this whole self-help gig, you think, oh great, I want to do this, I can manifest more wealth, this is something that I want. But in reality, it's really just sort of holding you back because now you can't afford to pay your electric bill. So this is a really huge problem with people in general, is the fact that this economy is not getting any better. It's really not. And next year is probably going to be even harder than what this year is. And we may have a few years after that where it's very quite challenging and difficult for a lot of people. So how do you make more wealth? So rather than the mindset of, oh, I'm wealthy, I'm rich, that kind of stuff, and repeating all of those affirmations, all of that hokey crap that nobody really likes or pays attention to, ignoring all of that, the biggest thing of all is you have to make peace with the things that we can't control. One of the things that I have figured out in my experience is that just by me doing what's important to me in the moment, that has revealed so many other things. Like this astrology is a great example. It's almost like a Frankenstein of sorts, where I set out to do one very basic, simple thing, and then I realize, oh, I don't have a foundation here. I have to create that. And then that takes 7 hours over the next 6 days, and then I still don't get finished what I needed to. But I feel so great about myself and everything that I've accomplished along the way, so it's totally worth it. Now, the whole concept behind wealth manifestation and all of that whole everything is, it really is all about you and the concept of net worth, or excuse me, self worth versus net worth. We're conditioned in society to believe that it's really all about net worth, but it's really not. It's about what we think about ourselves. Deepak Chopra says that financially successful people spend their money on experiences. So, like hiring psychics, getting a massage, going on vacations, rather than purchasing things like clothes or those kinds of items. People get really stuck in that, though, just because we don't really have any other options. But I very specifically remember a call many years ago here on this show where we had somebody, I don't really remember their name. They were probably an Annie Banani or a Lisa Lush or something along those lines, but there was a definite feeling of, are you for real? It was just such disbelief. We don't really, their situation was so dire, it was kind of like, how do you end up in this? And we're not really sure what they're withholding from us in the reading portion of it. But when I was going through this, and I started, digging my claws into what was happening, I realized, oh, so the real reason why you can't afford a pizza every month is because you're paying like $3,000 a month to the vet because of some issue that, your pet has. And then, and of course, obviously you can't say, well, maybe it's time to, just kind of pull the plug, because that's rude. That's mean. You can't do that, right? Apparently people get upset and then start crying because they think I'm an a-hole about it. But I very specifically remember that this person was so distraught and in despair about their situation, like, I can't even afford a pizza. So that really stuck with me, because this is very endemic of the people that I have come across in life, is that they never have money to pay us. Like they just think that psychics are extra, that that's something that they don't have to pay for. Like that we're sex workers. God, I would hate to be a sex worker. Do you have any idea how much those people get hit up all the time for freebies? Like that would be so annoying. And we get it all the time here on this end, in the spiritual end of work. And then people are saying, I don't have any money, and that translation, I want a discount. So, Veretta, this is something that you have absolutely wrestled with over the years. And it's really funny if we switch gears for a moment and look at your chart, which I have up right now. We take a look at the concept of Mars Hades equals Saturn. And I'll tell you straight up, that formula means unpaid work, which is something that we are doing here on the show. We're being unpaid for this. We're being paid, but that's all like, warm, fuzzy stuff inside of our soul. But nothing is actually lining our pockets at this moment. And when we look at this part of your chart, Beretta, what I was able to see here is that you working in that retail space and being in that whole lifestyle for so many years, that really equipped you with some life skills that you cannot pick up anywhere else, because you were bombarded all the time with the low life, lowbrow people that were like, I don't have any money. Give me, help me, heal me for free, because that's because you love me and you love what you do. And then all of the manipulation and the black magic nonsense. When we get into all of that, that's the darker side of the spiritual work that you do. We really see this right here, and that you are quite successful with it because you've got Jupiter on this pointer over here on that blue circle. So that's going to bring some great energy for you. So that means that you're very good with unpaid work.
Right.
But this is a skill that you've sort of had to develop over the years in figuring out to people to get through to them. Like, yes, I do have bills that need to be paid, and no, I'm not going to give you everything for free. That's something that you've always had to work with. And a lot of us are in this similar type of situation, especially entrepreneurs who work for themselves, that they feel that, dang, I can't make any money. What the heck am I supposed to do? And that's just been a thing. So, the topic of today's show, wealth manifestation, we're getting into how to work around those barriers when you're just so stuck in life that you don't know what to do anymore. So, Beretta, what do you have to say about that? Like, how do we make more money aside from the obvious side hustle kind of thing when there just aren't any other options?
Well, first of all, you have to take a look at what you consider the word wealth means. If it's strictly monetary, then you're probably not listening to the right show. Because we are absolutely about making things happen for yourself, not just monetarily, but across the board, endemically, in the fact that we want to affect you for the rest of your life, not just 1 minute of it. And so, wealth manifestation really does have to be narrowed down to what you define as the word wealth. Now, if we're looking at monetary, then yeah, you're going to work your butt off. You're never going to know when your next meal's coming from, or you're never going to know when that one investment that you put your effort into doesn't pay out. And you're now back to block one, starting all over. And you have to reassess the fact that if that's all what your life is about, is accumulating money, is accumulating debt, then go for it. I mean, there's no harm, there's no foul. You are going to do whatever you need to, and the money is going to be the root of your necessity. But if people start to look at wealth management as not just your financial success, but your overall health, and we're talking spiritual, we're talking physical, we're talking everything, every manifestation that you can have in regard to bettering yourself. I think the best tactic to take on this is to really assess and evaluate what you feel your worth, your net worth is, your integral worth, and then work from there. If it's, well, I'm fine with the money part, but I really just need more personal, then that's what you work on. Slice it down to individual sections and work at it from a little bit. It doesn't matter what you don't have to go from bottom to top, side to side. It doesn't matter. Grab a point in your life that you'd like to work on and let it rip. And don't stop. Don't let anything become unavailable to you, and don't allow someone else to tell you that your thought or your dream is not legitimate. Nobody else has a right to tell you what you should strive for, and nobody else has a right to tell you what your worth is. That absolutely has to come from you, that self aspect. So I can absolutely understand, like you said, Ernesto, and I'm kind of cool with it showing up in my chart too, because that just validates that I've had a lot of area to troubleshoot in the past 30 plus years on living with this. And I say living with this is it's because it's not just a job to me. It's who I am metaphysically that wants to bring the best to people. So yeah, I do get hit up all the time, and some of those people know me and they can push the buttons that get me to, like, all right, I'll give you 15 minutes for free. It doesn't matter to me. It's only time. And the reality of it is I really don't get so much of that anymore, because I've actually learned how to utilize that energy in my life to say, please don't bring me those people. please don't waste my time with people that aren't really in it for the best effort. There are people that I do come across still that aren't quite in their right mind in understanding how they don't have to be a victim through this lifetime. I struggle with those people now because I really see the ignorance, and I am not cutting anybody down. I'm not asking anybody to go blind. What I'm saying is that there's a lot of misnomers in the metaphysical world. There's a lot of um, misnomers in the spiritual understanding in this world, and there's a lot that needs to be learned about what we're freaking here for, and it's not to suffer. It's not, we measure our life in success. Why do we have to measure our life at all? The fact is we just need to be happy with what we're doing and who we are, and know that we're not putting any harm out there in the universe. We're not trying to make trouble. We're just trying to get along and service people the best to our ability and call it good. Have a nice lifetime. So, really, overall, if you're looking at wealth manifestation as something that you need to help make happen, then start looking at your overall well being, not just one aspect of your life, because that one aspect does not make you who you are. It's the total sum of experiences and what's to come in you that does. So stop focusing on that one part of your life that isn't working anymore, that you're not getting what you want, or you never got what you wanted. You don't even think this stuff is real because you've done it all and nothing ever happened for you. Well, it wasn't just the actions, it was the thought behind it. And that's what starts the wealth manifestation, not your actions, your thoughts behind it. Thoughts do manifest energy. Thoughts manifest energy into action. Action manifests energy into future, and future manifests energy into the lifetime. So you have to really look at what you're doing right here at that ground zero level, at the alchemist level, to start to build your foundation and then understand what else you need to create more of what you want.
That's really in key because when I took that really fancy wealth manifestation training way back when, one of the most important things that was discussed was about net worth versus self worth. And again, this all comes down to what are you doing for yourself, for your own personal economy, and establishing that currency, however that may be, if that's self care, if that's working on the projects that bring you joy, however that manifests in your life, work on that and establish that currency in your own personal life and keep generating more of it. The financial stuff, the physical stuff that pays your bills, all of that's going to come in its own due time. But that's only the byproduct of you working on yourself. So I mean, if all your focus is in this moment, how am I going to pay my rent this month? Sure, you can have a quick fix. You can ask a friend or take a side hustle or whatever it's going to be to get you through. But then next month, you're going to end up in the exact same situation. It just becomes a problem that repeats itself so much. And then we get exhausted with ourselves. And I really feel sorry for the people who are buried in like student loan debt, especially the people who went to really private fancy schools and paid a premium for that. And then their financial future is totally destroyed to where, they don't have money for a pizza. Like they can barely make ends meet as it is. And they probably even have to skip a few meals a week for that reason. It's really sad when it escalates to that point. So, I mean, if we look at the astrology of it, just talking about the planet Jupiter, which has to do with our money, from that perspective, there really aren't a whole lot of negatives associated with it because the one of the key words for Jupiter is very simply fortune, good luck. These are great things that are there, but also it means more. So whenever Jupiter is next to something in your chart, it means more of that thing. It could be more work. It could be more problems. It could be more misfortunes. It could be more confusion. So there are positive and negatives to all of that. But at the most basic level, if you're bad with money and you're aware of this, then don't go out spending it. Don't open credit accounts. Don't do the things that you know are bad for you. That's kind of like, why are you going to allow a child predator to walk your kid home from school and then go to a candy store along the way? Does that seem like a good idea to you? It's the exact same thing is happening with a lot of people is that this wishful thinking, which is really truly one of the biggest poisons in the world of all, is that it'll get better, it'll change, it's different this time. It is never different this time. I am a realist. Let's so I'm just here to tell you, let's focus on what you can do, and allowing the big bad wolf into your life to create more issues and more tornadoes and more hurricanes, totally unnecessary. It doesn't have to be that way. So if you're struggling with finances, you're going to have to take a look inside as to how you're managing that. And you might even have to go outside and ask for some help. I mean, these are basic life skills that a lot of us don't really take the time to examine, but it's something that can definitely be addressed. Like, we are you spending $200 a month in pizza orders or going out to the bar or something like that? Where can you cut corners? Is it really truly that necessary? Maybe you can do it every other week. I remember I had a client many years ago who was so distressed about her personal finances and how she was going to make ends meet, yet she insisted on paying $300 every 6 weeks to get her hair cut. Who in their right mind would do that when you know that, do I want utilities or do I want a pretty haircut? It's really insane, and that's where you kind of have to, we have this element of disbelief, like, are you for real? That's really where that mindset comes from.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we have to remember those people are starting from dust, and trying to work their way up out of the I can't afford a pizza, but I can get a $300 haircut mentality, and hopefully spread a little bit of something across the board that lets people understand they can live in the middle. It doesn't have to be extreme. They can get off the ends of each of their pendulums and stop running back and forth along the clock. It just is ridiculous, and what people continue to think will change, like you said, and doesn't. Is that just there's not even any room to believe that there's going to be change. Um, and that's not to say change can happen. I am not negating experiences. I can see it right now. Oh, I had an experience that don't do that. I'm generalizing here when I say don't do that. I mean, really, there's only so much you need to take responsibility for your own actions. There's only so much everybody else is going to struggle to help you with when you struggle to help everybody else or do whatever you want to. The other thing for me, Ernesto, as well as I can't buy a pizza, but I'll get a $300 haircut, is I'm dirt broke. I can't afford a meal right now, but boy, I set all my relatives up because they're running fancy, and every time they need something, they want to come see me. And now I'm doing without. So could you please help me? That to me, there's like a seriously kind of feel to it. Like you just gave your whole life away to someone else, but now you're asking for help. I'm not too sure about that. That's a wonderful thing to think that that is a noble trait in people. But when you give to the point to where you deplete your own needs, then not that's not honorable. That's not going out there and paying it forward. That's not doing anything for that noble cause. Believe it or not, people, when you sacrifice yourself purposefully with the mindset that, well, if I pay it forward, I'll get more back in return, then you're blowing it right there, because that is, you're not doing what you're supposed to in the realm of increasing or manifesting more wealth for yourself, because all you're doing is wanting to continue to maintain the limelight and be the big guy to people in front of you, where in the reality you're supporting the people in front of you and giving them everything they need, but in the background you're asking for help from folks that you shouldn't be asking help from to begin with. Not that you shouldn't ask for help, but you shouldn't ask for help from some people, knowing exactly what they're going to be like and trying to guilt trip them into feeling the need to help you because you supported others, and put yourself in a bad financial stressful self um, mode. And so there's a lot of reasons people put themselves in that place of catastrophe. And so that's where they have to figure out, they have to work forward in figuring out how to not do that to themselves so that they can have enough that will stretch so far that at some point, if they increase that wealth, and they can share, versus they give everything they have to other people in need and then do without asking for help. And that's just simply not manifestation at all.
And just case in point for me, by some simple behavior modifications, I just want to close out the show with this thought. By me deciding to work on myself and eliminating all of the other poisons and toxins in my mind and just in my own personal finances, focusing on this astrology has changed me in so many different ways. Like I've all of those unnecessary trips to the dispensary totally gone. One of the biggest shocks of all was I quit playing a mobile game that I had been involved with for 8 years that has had some pretty deep hooks in my bank account. And when I finally came to the realization, this does not make me happy anymore. Why the heck am I going through the motions and doing this and feeding into this thing, this monster that doesn't really care about me? Then I was able to just sort of let it go, and I realized, oh my God, I have all of this money that I didn't know that I had. It was kind of shocking. So it was, I all I had to do was cut off the gangrenous wound by me investing in myself and my own personal economy. And then what happened as a result of that was really quite magical. So I just want to leave you guys with that. Focus on yourselves and create that own personal currency. And by doing so, just watch all of the tremendous, terrific things that begin to pop up and spring in your life that you never really paid attention to before. It really does give us a new perspective on the world.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. So whose chart do you have up right now? Do you have somebody's chart up right now?
I don't, not anymore. I did, but we are going to close the
Okay,
show out. We're at a half hour now. So we do want to thank everybody for
alrighty.
listening to this pilot episode of the Alchemy Annex on wealth manifestation. We will be back with you guys in 2 weeks for this type of program on the 18th, when we're going to be talking about I Choose Me. That'll be our next topic. And of course, because we are in this transition phase, we will be back with you guys on Wednesday again from 6 to 7 p.m. for our regular call-in show here on Blog Talk Radio. And also again on next Sunday from 10 to 11, that'll be a regular call-in show. And we will transition to our Patreon program starting in July. You will get all of those links and those QR codes momentarily as all of those things are being taken care of. So do stay tuned for updates. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming out today. And Veretta, as always, it's a terrific, great pilot episode. I really enjoyed this chat with you here, and I look forward to exploring more parts of our universe.
Great, I do too. And on that note, you have a great weekend to the rest of your Sunday, and we will pick this up on Wednesday.
Absolutely. And for all other things Uranian Astrology, be sure to check out eastrologer.tv, and you can find Veretta at verettavision.com. Thanks, everybody. Have a great half of your week, and we will catch you guys soon. Until next time, good luck and Godspeed.
Bye-bye.